Today you are at 900 crores revenue, you are a public company. Today what is the market cap of the company?
About $2 billion. For the first 25 years, we were just focused on army simulators.
And this is your IP?
It is completely our IP. We have more than 195 patents filed till now. So the technology that we built is absolutely world class. So in Operation Sindhoor, our system were used and we effectively blocked the drones from entering into our space.
You have been able to enter from simulators
Simulators to actual operational equipment, from training to operational equipment. You are right. Yeah. Complete game is ensuring that India becomes an IP creator. If you create the IP, then others will come to you and say, we want to buy it. Like after Operation Sindhoor, we got a lot of export inquiries. And it will only come if you're IP owned. If you are just manufacturing for somebody else, they will have to go to the owner and say, boss, can I sell it or not?
There's a belief in the Indian entrepreneur ecosystem that dealing with government is very difficult.
They introduced a policy called payment within 45 days. So 45th day, they started paying. But then, in the recent few months, there have been, some bad actors who are asking silly questions and delaying. What happens is, when you delay payment, the companies die.
How far is India today from, let's say, if you had to put a number, 10 years, 20 years, that India could manufacture its own air jets like Rafale?
I think if they can really create
Hi, this is Siddharth Ahluwalia, your host at Neon Show and managing partner at Neon Fund, a fund that invests in the best of enterprise AI companies building from India for the globe, like SpotDraft, Atomic Work, CloudSec. Today, I have with me Ashok Atluri, sir, on the Neon Show podcast. Welcome, Ashok, on the podcast. So glad to have you.
Thank you for having me here.
Ashok, you have built Zen in 1993, almost 32 years ago.
That's right, yeah.
And you have been an IP-driven defense technology company from the beginning.
Absolutely.
So, India has been, for the longest period of time, lacking in IP, our own IP, right? For example, we were discussing previous to the podcast, like how Make in India campaign is encouraging manufacturing, which is great. But Apple, which sells an iPhone for $1,200, roughly 1 lakh rupees, to maybe putting $450 in making of the phone, in equipment, right? Foxconn, the manufacturer, makes $15-20 on it.
Absolutely.
And the rest is taken by Apple in their parent country.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
that's the same game Apple is playing in manufacturing in India?
Yeah, the thing is, it is like that in the sense that the bill of material is about, $485, $15 to $25 are paid by Apple to Foxconn. That is the make-in component, whether it's in China or India. And the rest, almost $700 are taken by Apple because they own the IP. So we have, it's almost, it looks like that we're living in a matrix where everybody is talking about manufacturing, that $15, $25. And nobody wants to talk about the remaining $700 the IP creator is capturing. There's something, when we look at it, I keep thinking, why aren't we talking about IP creation? And very early in 2005, 2006, when I used to talk about, we should create IP, and why are we only talking about manufacturing? They would say, "Pehle chalna siko, baad mein udne ki baat karna," types, And that was from the industry compatriots. So most of the industry was invested in getting tie-up with somebody and doing their manufacturing work, get the contract from India. So, and very frankly, it's a long haul game. In the sense, you start investing, 3 to 5 years is a very, very optimistic time when the first sale happens. But even though now the government is much aggressive through IDDM and all those policies. But so it was a difficult game, and so fortunately when Parrikar came in 2015, he got the game. And but there are certain restrictions. If you create something for the government and you say, listen, this is world's best, what are they going to say? They'll say, oh, great, no, embrace you, no, they'll, so we have these bureaucrats and who are completely socialist set of mind. First thing is, they'll say, look, I want 3 vendors. Where the hell will you get 3 vendors? And when they say 3 vendors or 2 vendors, they all have to get equipment, which is really that much of class. Where will you create all that from? So, and you say, no, there is nobody else except me. Then also you want to do monopoly because they'll fall out of their chair. So, you are creating a technology that's India first and maybe world first. And you cannot sell it to the government of India till 2015. And that's when Parrikar came and I gave him this IDDM proposal, where it's indigenously designed, developed, so it was a lot of inputs were there. So when I gave it to him, and there was another proposal called Make-II. So these are 2 proposals in which we said, listen, if it is indigenously designed, developed and manufactured, you please give them preference even if they are single vendor. So Parrikar was able to get, I mean, he was one of the greatest guys I ever seen, not politician, but generally. He immediately put it, and there was a lot of resistance at that point in time from the bureaucracy and all that, but he stuck to the gun and he put it in. Now today that has become the most sacred and most sought after category.
And what happened in the first 22 years of building the company from 1973 till 2015?
So it was actually very painful in the sense that, you create the world's best products, and you just cannot sell because there are no other two other competitors. So they used to proudly say, listen, we don't care, we will keep diluting the specifications till we get the competition, and then we'll give the bid to who's L1. So you may have, a rocket, Falcon rocket developed here, but they'll keep diluting it till it becomes Sivakasi rocket or Diwali rocket, and they'll buy Sivakasi. They'll not buy what serves their purpose. So that was a challenge, but now I think it's really dramatically improved. They're using this IDDM category a lot. And what happens is, if you look at Elon Musk's rocket versus Lockheed and Boeing, they were doing contract forever. Lockheed and Boeing had a cost plus contract model. And how many rockets flew? Almost none flew from them. Because if the moment rockets start flying, the project has to be closed down. And then this guy who our Elon Musk said, don't pay me if the rocket doesn't fly. Give me based on milestone if I achieve. So he went and he got he delivered. So when the skin in the game is there, which is what happens when a private company has self-funded the R&D. When skin in the game happens, then the products are delivered. When I say skin in the game, what do I mean by that? I mean when skin in the game is not there, and if there is a failure, there is no downside to the guy. When the skin in the game is there, it may ruin the guy. So when there ruination, you are facing ruination. Your family may be out on the roads. Your employees may be thinking you may not be able to pay the next bill. That is when actually miracles start happening. So that is what we have seen. That we in our case it's purely that, and so we say encourage the self-funded private R&D companies to be treated to be given orders if they deliver the product. Don't delay it once they make it, because that will start a virtuous cycle. And again, R&D companies, self-funded R&D companies, if you give them money, they're not going to buy a Lamborghini. They're going to make another better product. So most of these guys will so that will start a virtuous cycle. So India will keep developing more and more defense R&D indigenously developed products, and then we will become a global leader. Again, a lot of people want to do everything. I want to do tank, I want to do this, I want to do that. Just focus on the 20% Pareto technologies, the emerging technologies. Maybe drones, anti-drone systems, maybe electronic warfare, what is happening. Then maybe this quantum safe communications, how do you do that? The space, the satellite technologies, just get those 20% right, and they will have 80% impact on the war. And you emerge leader in this category with this self-funded. This will only happen if they do extreme encouragement of the self-funding with the private companies. So if that happens, I think India can become a leader in 5 years. My estimation is a little aggressive, but that government will have to get aggressive and place orders on these guys who have made the product. Don't try to do any charity. Have the strictest standards and then do it. I think it will be a miracle. It will be a miracle for Indian defense system.
So you have built simulators for defense tech in India.
Yeah.
Right. There's a simulator for tanks. There's a simulator for drone. For drone protection from the neighboring countries. Right. So tell us the journey of how did this started.
So for the first 25 years, we were just focused on army simulators.
What is that?
The army simulators are the land forces, the weapons, the tanks, the artillery, and just the army, not the air force or the navy. So we were just focused on this, and so we were able to. And we were not doing anything. With a lot of opportunities came, we said, let us just focus on these things only, and they've become number one in the world.
And this is your IP?
It is completely our IP. We have more than 195 patents filed till now. About 85, 90 have been granted. So we are completely owned by us, the IP. And we have also asserted through filing the IP. Again, the IP developing is different from IP assertion. If the technology is too secretive and too complex, we don't patent that, because anybody can make it there otherwise. So, so when if somebody looks at it, says, oh, this is obvious, let me make it. Those are the kinds we create for patents for. So yes, we have patented and we have created the product absolutely world class. And we, by the way, when we are growing, Tata's, India's largest conglomerate, one of the largest conglomerate, tied up with CAE, Canadian company, and bid against us. Mahindra tied up with the UK, it's a simulation company, they bid against us. Thales, the French company, they came in bid against us. All of them were completely disillusioned, not because we were cheaper, we were technically superior to them. And they went back from the market. Because when we initially came, we were not given any preference. We were like any other company. So, yeah, so the technology that we built is absolutely world class. And we know, as Bruce Lee famously says that, I don't fear the man who has practiced 10,000 kick once, but I do fear the man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times. So that was our one kick, army simulators. Then, of course, in 2018, we started looking what are the technologies in which, nobody is focusing on, and everybody was talking about drones. We also thought we should get into drones, but then there was absolute dead silence from the threat that drones placed with the anti-drone systems. So we started looking around where is that capability, and we were able to locate a company called UTS, a very, very dynamic two promoters, and we talked to them, and with doing many projects, we said that, no, why don't we focus on this technology? And then anti-drone system was...
you acquired them?
We invested 51% of the company is acquired by Zen.
Okay. And they build the anti-drone simulator.
So they make anti-drone systems, actually, not simulators.
What is anti-drone systems?
Anti-drone systems are the systems that actually bring down the drones. So in Operation Sindhoor, our systems were used, and we effectively blocked the drones from entering into our space, and we were able to get them down.
So you have been able to enter from
simulators to actual operational equipment, from training to operational equipment. You are right. Yeah.
And any other such equipment that you have entered in?
So we are getting into now weapon systems to be integrated with the. And so earlier we had something called a soft kill, which is just a signal based jamming of the thing. But now what we are doing, kinetic killing can be done by actually firing. So we have got that remote control weapon station along with the weapon, and we can bring them down. Yeah, that's the new addition that we did.
And these technologies are real time deployed right now in the army. You're killing guns.
Yeah, so not the guns, but the anti-drone systems have been developed. Soft kill have been developed. Yeah.
Okay. And let's say between today you are at 900 crores revenue. You are a public company for the last 25 years.
Yeah, it's in 2000. Yeah, 25 years now. Yeah.
And when you went public, what revenue were you at?
We did about 1 crore at that point.
Okay, you did
1 crore, and we raised about 1.9 crores.
Okay.
So we raised about 9. It was at par issue. We were 7.8 crores was our market. So the total size of the company equity. We after issuing 25% to the government, we were 1.91 crores or something like that. That was what we raised. Yeah.
And today, what is the market cap of the company?
So we are at about $2 billion. Yeah. Okay. 1 million to $2 billion. Yeah. 2000x. Yeah.
Got it. So that's been a great journey in the last 25 years.
Yeah. So yeah, again, very frankly, we were till almost till 2012, 13, we were at 40 crores market cap.
Okay. So you shot up like
so
almost...
Yeah, we have grown almost 400x, more than 400x in the last
12 years.
12 years, yeah.
Oh, but this is amazing growth.
The growth, again, that I think, I wish I could claim it for my thing, but I think the government policies actually enabled us to grow like that.
So what are the policies that helped you grow?
So one is the Buy Indian IDDM. The second was
Can you tell the full format?
So Buy Indian IDDM means so earlier we used to have a category called Buy Indian, in which you could collaborate with somebody and actually manufacture it here. That would qualify as Buy Indian IDDM. But now what we have done is that what we wanted was the Buy Indian. We said IP should also be owned by that, and they should be given special preference. Otherwise, nobody will develop IP. They'll only keep getting from outside and be manufacturing coolies or just push the box pushers. So Mr. Parrikar was able to get that IDDM, indigenously designed, developed and manufactured category was created, under which if the company has developed the IP, they will be given first preference. And even if they're a single vendor, the order will be placed on them. So this was one thing. And the second thing was Make-II. Make-II is that you make a proposal, or the government asks to make a proposal that this is what they want, or this is what we will build. If they accept that, okay, this is something they want, then they will say, okay, they'll invite the bids from everybody. But this funding is not done by the government. It has to be self-funded by the private sector. So that was a sea change in opinion. Everybody used to say, let the government fund, let the government fund. So when we proposed that, we are willing to, because, very frankly, innovators are not paper pushers. So in most of the government projects, if you want funding, it's mostly a clerical job of making the paper and putting it without developing the product. Most of the time, projects go on for years and decades. So we said, listen, the actual tinkerers are very poor paper pushers. They actually can develop the product, deliver it without even taking 1 rupee from you. So Parrikar immediately got it and he said, okay, fine, if you are able to do that, I'll put all the products under Make-II category. So of course, a lot of the products have been pushed under Make-II. So that is where the private company is funding for the government project, and they are paid only if the project is successful. That's Make-II, yeah. But Make-II is R&D involved. IDDM is product is ready and they will buy it.
So in the first category, the advantage India has is the company who have owning the IP in India, they are getting the preference, even if they are the only company.
Yes.
And that is also helping India in a way that, let's say, if we tie up with a France-based manufacturer, so Pakistan can also get the same sourcing.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah,
but with the Indian owning IP,
we are facing that. I think it was Saab or some other company where they supplied the same thing to both the things, and they also supplied how to counter it. So it's a completely neutralized, So we should be. So I think the complete game is ensuring that India becomes an IP creator, and of course, we can always help our allies, whoever are aligned with our thing.
Yeah, then we could export the IP from India to other countries.
Absolutely. So that is where the thing. If you create the IP, then others will come to you and say we want to buy it. Like after Operation Sindhoor, we got a lot of export inquiries. So they said because the thing has worked in the actual situation. So yes, that is an opportunity, and it will only come if you're IP owned. If you are just manufacturing for somebody else, they will have to go to the owner and say, boss, can I sell it or not? And again, what happens is the product evolves, and now it's evolving very fast. 3 years later, you'll again go and beg at the door, boss, give me the latest technology.
And so far, how far is India today from being completely, let's say if you had to put a number, 10 years, 20 years, that India could manufacture its own jets like Rafale, and India could manufacture its own defense equipment like the machine guns, the tanks.
I think if they can really create enabling policies. So there, in fact, as we speak, the 2025 defense acquisition procedure is being revised. If they can create a very sacred, inviolable category called self-funded private R&D category, if they make the product that works, we will place the order within 6 months and deliver it immediately. And we'll fund them and proven companies. If you feel unsafe with newer companies, proven companies. And if they say that, and 18 months we'll try to conclude the orders, so that will start again a virtuous cycle. If that happens in a very, very earnest way, and these private self-funding companies are rewarded contracts, I think we can cut down the cycle from 5 to 6 years. We should be having the world's best product again in the Pareto category. The drones, anti-drone systems, space, satellite. Again, satellite, we have a lot of guys, very cool guys working in that. And we have even this quantum communications, we have guys. So, but they need really, really, the hand-holding support, and only government can support. Unfortunately, for other things, there are private guys being done. But in this case, government has to take a call. And if they are able to embrace these private self-funded companies, I mean, even if they give 1/10 of the fund that they give to a DRDO, we are on our way.
And in the simulation category in India for defense tech, who is the number 2 player after you?
That's the fact is that there are in different categories. For truck simulator, there is somebody. For this is the advantage or the downside of putting in money for 30 years into technologies. It is very, very difficult to have competition. Now, if I give you $100 million and say, okay, go compete with Zen, you will return that money and say, I don't want to compete with Zen. Why? Because we have not been playing a manufacturing game or an incremental game. We have been developing on and on. Again, the 10,000 kicks my 10,000th kick is more lethal than my first kick when I practice. So we are at a very, very fast stage. We do get sometimes people who collaborate with foreign companies and they come and do it. But again, Indian Armed Forces are very, very demanding. So, and for example, in one of the things with the weapon simulator that you have seen, they said that if the Indian Army gives the weapon, we will do it. Then if you take the weapon, actually morning you have to take and evening you have to return that weapon, even if it is simulated weapon. If you have modified the real weapon, it has to be returned to the guard, to the room, strong room. And so we said, why are you doing that? If you want to, what if you want to practice beyond 5 o'clock or something like that? And then we said, have simulated weapons. You can have 3 shifts if you want, whether you use it or not. So the moment they said simulated weapons, the foreign competition disappeared. So the thing is, so because you're keeping this thing on and really developing cutting, and this is the reason we are able to sell in foreign companies also. Foreign countries also, we compete with the best of the best. And we have been reasonably successful there also.
And globally, which would be the #1 company in this category?
So, I think there are 4 companies in this category. One is Rheinmetall, is a German company, and Thales, French company, Saab, Swedish company, and then Cubic, that's the American company. So these are the companies that come. And CAE, there is another company called CAE in Canada. They are not much into army simulation because we competed with them once or twice. Then they disappeared from India, but they are also there. So I think in terms of maybe CAE is the largest simulation company.
Okay. And in terms of your revenue today, how much comes from simulation versus the real machinery you're deploying for defense?
So I think they're in the category. So you keep varying, but it may be 60-40. 60 from simulation and 40 from non-simulation.
Like the anti-drone
systems. Yeah.
Okay. And I believe you shared that in the last 4 years, the company went from 60 crore revenue to 900 crore.
160 crores in 22, 60, 23, 160, 24, 430. Now we did 930 crores. Yeah.
So what has been in the last, what's the magic recipe for the last 4 years?
So one thing is that government started seeing the benefit of simulators. One of the Terry did a study on sustainability, and they said a 15 crore investment over 30 years will result in a savings of 387 crores. That's like almost 25x saving happening. So that was a kind of a shocker. And then, then this is much more efficient. The people who get trained on simulator versus actual thing, this is a much more result-oriented thing. And then the time, just imagine driving tank, going to a logistics nightmare, practicing there and coming. And then after that is the wear and tear of the actual equipment. So given all these things, I think the simulator was, and government issued a policy also. They said the simulation for policy framework for simulation, and where they mandated the transition to simulators. So all these almost like I would say a perfect storm in a positive sense. Took us to the next level.
So how much you or Zen was part of this policy making process?
So, in the case of IDDM and Make-II, I was directly interacting with Mr. Parrikar and the other people who were involved in. But in the case of other the simulation, we have been making representations that, they should move to simulation. So I don't know how much of impact that had, but eventually I think the efforts were, again, we are talking about sustainability, climate response and all that. I think everything moved in that direction. I don't know how much indirect effect we had, but we never had any direct engagement on this with anyone.
So assuming India would have at least 1 million or 10 lakh people in Indian Army today?
Yeah, all put together, yes, yeah.
Yes. So how much of this population of Indian Army is getting trained on simulators today?
I mean, I would be hazarding a guess, but I think they have started, maybe at least 10 to 15% would be trained on this. Yeah. There's a lot of mileage still to go, yeah.
And how is government choosing which part to simulate, which part not to simulate?
So your weapon platforms are something they want to simulate, because the very fact is that, if I take a tank, it's costing. If I fire a missile, it is costing.
So all tanks are simulated today?
So so we have T-72, T-90 and the Arjun MBT. They all have simulators, yeah.
And 100% of the drivers are getting trained on this?
Yes, so almost all are getting trained on this tank simulators only, yeah.
And which are the other parts where you believe that almost 100% simulation is there in defense on the weapon side?
So I think weapons, they are going to move into that, the AK-47 and the artillery, they will probably move in. and this integrated, air defense is something that they're going. So there is a lot of, so, we have only covered a very small part, maybe 5% of what the simulation market is. The other 95 is to be covered, and we're in a very sweet spot at this point in time.
Got it. And how, like, for example, there is a new weapon that is coming in the next few years. So how do you get updated that, hey, you have
So
to build
typically, so we have this huge library of how the weapon behaves, the initial force, what is the trajectory it will take. So based on that, we are able to simulate any weapon. And when weapon come, they generally come with all the specs, what is the recoil, how much is the G-force, etc., etc.
No, but a new weapon is coming, let's say, next 2026.
Yeah.
How would you come to know about
So
it?
typically, the developer contacts us. He says, "Can you integrate our system into your simulator?" So typically, the thing is, the OEMs don't want to develop simulators because, for example, a tank costs 40 crores. Our simulator costs 2.5 crores. Now, if you ask the tank guy to make a simulator, he'll say 40 plus 20 crores, 60 crores. So the ability to create a simulator is a unique ability. So I think we really excel at that. And then, after you supply, 10 years you have to maintain. For example, while maintaining, 3 years later, the graphics card fail. And this happens to us. Graphics card fail, you try to replace the graphic card. Today's graphic card don't fit the old motherboard. Then you replace the motherboard. Then the operating system said, sorry, I can't, I don't play the old operating system. Then you replace the operating system. Your app doesn't work. So you have to rewrite the app. So all these capabilities are not there in the manufacturer's team. So these are a special set of skills that company like Zen has that actually attracts weapon manufacturers to partner with us, and that becomes a very, very strong proposition. Now, if you are a weapon manufacturer, you say, boss, listen, I'm going to deliver it in 2 years, but 1 year later, I'll deliver the simulator. You can train for 1 year, and by the time a weapon comes, you're ready to operate it. So that becomes an extremely attractive training package, training collateral as they call. And so a lot of people are doing that. Whenever they're building a weapon, they're interacting with us and asking us to develop simulator.
So you shared one interesting stat that a tank would cost like 40 crores, but a simulator would cost how much?
2.5 crores.
Yeah, so almost 20 times the difference.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Right. So government would prefer much
for
more
training. Yeah, makes absolutely sense. Not only here, but across the board for most of the weapon systems. Yeah.
But are there any tanks getting manufactured in India today, like IP wise?
Yeah, I think Arjun MPT, Zorawar, all these will be Indian IP owned only. Okay. Yeah.
And helicopters, like for defense?
Yeah, I think that they're also, we have some helicopters that are being manufactured in India. HAL is doing now. So, yeah, we are doing, but I know how much of it is India, what are the critical components, are they made in India? There is some gap there. We still buy it from outside. But yeah, there is definitely a move towards manufacturing.
But if you have to categorize this for our audience to know, today the IP that the government is using is defense, right? All the ammunition, tanks, planes, trucks, how much is the IP owned by India today, what we are using?
So, for example, simulators and an anti-drone system, I think we also, except for the, like example, we may buy a computer, a Windows-based computer, but all the application layer over that is completely built by us. So the operating system, the Intel motherboards, or
No, but I'm mostly talking about the equipment, not the.
So yeah, so I think depending on the equipment, the hardware has been designed in-house now. There are weapon systems that are being designed completely in-house, and there is 100% ownership of those things. So sometimes they do import the barrel of a weapon, but otherwise the IP is completely owned by India.
On most of the weapons?
Most of the, actually the basic weapons.
I think except the aircrafts and all.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
And how has the defense budget of India increased over the period of, let's say, the last 10 years?
So I think this government has been very aggressive on increasing it. They have been increasing and not only that, more important than that is how much are they reserving for Indian manufacturers. So that has been really dramatically gone to the extent that foreign companies know if they don't tie up with the Indian company, even like manufacturing coolies or whatever you want to say. But at that basic level, if we don't tie up, we will not get the orders. So things are moving in that direction. But again, I keep saying that please focus on developing the IP, own the IP. If you want to, so even if I think sometimes we may feel that we want to acquire some foreign tech, but it should be acquired by companies that can understand the tech and evolve it to the next level. Invariably, the foreign guys select people who are very dumb, who will just take the tech and manufacture, not try to understand, absorb it like the China does. So they don't want to absorb it. They would just want to be the dumbest of the dumbest manufacturers, bureaucratic kind of structure. They want to give it to them so that next time when there is any requirement, they come back to them. But we think that there should be, when they are buying the tech from outside, Indian government should take undertaking that, that you will indigenize in this manner, and by this year you will actually IP owned product, next product will be delivered. Otherwise, we are going to levy heavy penalties or something like that.
So over a period of time, what has been the hardest part in convincing the Indian government for adopting your technology?
So when we started in 93, when we used to say simulators, they would say stimulators. I mean, I'm talking about really senior IAS officers kind of thing. So it wasn't really known at that point in time. So, and obviously, I would also say stimulators to not offend them. But we have come a long way after that. And now, everybody knows, likes the importance of simulators. And again, our biggest pain point was, we have developed world first technology and you're asking 3 vendors kind of thing. Parrikar came and he's, really evaluated that. But even now, at some places in state governments and other places, they say, yaar, aap to single vendor, hum kaise karenge single vendor? But that continues to be a pain point for us.
Why does state government needs defense tech?
But they have police, to train weapon systems on weapons. Yeah, they have vehicles, they do everything. Then there are these CAPFs, BSF, CRPF and all that. They all buy our thing.
So they have also equal demand, you are saying?
Not equal demand, but they have but they don't invest so much, because if they say something in the central government used to give something as modernization fund, then they used to buy it.
Yeah.
But now when the modernization fund is not that much, the demand has come down.
There's a belief in the Indian entrepreneur ecosystem that dealing with government is very difficult. Like, you can maybe supply your equipment or manufacture it and send it and even sell it, but payment coming back.
So I would be very. I want the thing is, this was a little difficult, but in during COVID time, they introduced a policy called payment within 45 days. So that really worked very strongly in the last 4-5 years.
And it happened on the ground?
It happened on the ground, very
much.
much.
Babu can delay your payment?
So 45th day, they started paying. But then, in the recent few months, there have been, some bad actors who are asking silly questions and delaying it. What happens is, when you delay payment, the companies die.
Has any company died because of it?
I'm very sure that they have suffered severely. Especially in the last few months, it has some delays have happened somewhere. But frankly, we are in a very good position, so we are not suffering. But I know a lot of small companies that are really under a lot of stress. And the thing is, there's so many costs involved when you delay. A lot of people don't understand that when you delay, the first is you cannot manufacture that product because you not placed the order on them. Second is that the armed forces are not ready. Because you have delayed the supply. There are chinks in your armor. Third is the business itself. So the national cost, the armed forces cost, and the business cost. Again, if you go deeper, if I'm an R&D company, if I don't make payment, my guy is going to go to Amazon warehouse and work there at a better salary, 3 times the salary. He will be doing the warehouse job. He's very happy with the warehouse job because I'm not able to pay even if he's the best of the guy. So the costs are humongous when the payments are delayed or the orders are not placed. And I'm surprisingly, the whole of Indian bureaucracy is never judged by delays in orders or things. They are judged by, is there any file you signed in which I can take out a CBI or a CBC angle? So nobody is judged. Suppose, there is a 100 crore project. And if I have to take a decision in 2 weeks as per the, if I take the decision in 3 days, so I have saved about 1.5 weeks. So there is actually cost, there is a savings happening in terms of, I did a calculation for 100 crore, it is 6 lakhs per day of saving. So that is 6 into 9 days, he saved 45 lakhs. You should track these savings. And if he goes beyond 2 weeks, there is a cost to delay. So if you are able to track bureaucracy and the officers in the cost of delay, which is costing the the nation so much, and you start promoting them on the basis of that, and typically, we are rank-based guys. So the moment we know that today, the thing is, did you have any file in which there was a CVC angle? Did you sign any controversial file? Then what will be the thing will be how much did you save to the nation? If that becomes an actual measuring tool, I think things will change dramatically. So this should be one of the main point in agenda where, government officers are judged by how quickly they place the order, how do they, hasten the manufacturing, development of products, and then how they make the armed forces battle ready, and then how do they make the businesses so strong that they do more and more R&D and bring more and more products. So just by one variable, I think this is a Pareto, ultimate Pareto is cost per day of delay. This is the cost per delay. Yeah.
And in your journey, right, as an entrepreneur till now, right, has this delay caused any major repercussions in the last 32 years?
Fortunately, the thing is, financially, we have been very conservative. In fact, that's actually costing us now in the sense that we always were preparing that we get an order. So 32 years if you have survived, it's very rare for a company to survive. 32, so what the only way you can survive in a downturn is only if your fixed costs are low. If the fixed costs are high, you're finished. So we have been able to keep the structure low by hiring not from the IITs or the IIM. Anyway, I'm a little wary about them, but hiring from tier 2 cities and then running them through a training program, which is very, very tough, and then creating that sense of high agency, not in the sense that, I'm working for the country, which we all do. So when that thing comes, they stick with you in spite of adverse. Again, we have a record that we have never delayed even one day's salary for any of our staff. We are fortunate, and financially we are conservative. We always kept some money for bad times. We say at next 2 to 3 years we should have funds to sustain even if there is zero business. Yeah.
And which are the other companies in private sector like yours in defense tech, not by the large conglomerates in India, but
I would say there is a company called Avantel that's into satcom space and radio frequency space. And there is another HVF, they build something. And there is a company based in Nagpur called Solar Industries. They do a lot of their own R&D. And I think there's in the drone space also some companies are coming up now. I think we'll have some good one. I think Idea Forge has done some good work in that range. Yeah, I think, for private, but there's a lot of other companies. I'm definitely missing, not getting it now. But there are a lot of companies that are doing a lot of work.
But are entrepreneurs building for the government now, like private companies who are defense tech, only serving Indian government?
So, the thing is, one thing good about is if you develop for the Indian armed forces, for the Indian defense, the government of India is actually pushing exports for us.
What does it mean?
So, what does that mean? In our practices, that our products are circulated to various embassies throughout the world, and these guys, the defense attaches there, they actually go into the other governments and say, listen, this is a product that India has bought, or they have passed the trials, why don't you have a look at it? So that aggressive marketing is going on. When we go there, the embassy coaches us, which was a strict no before 2014. You the peaceful nation, why will we export something? While they would splurge on a lot of money, taxpayers' money on foreign equipment. But now things have changed. I think we are much more respected also, yeah.
So has the process in the entire bureaucracy for you, like from first demo to purchase to deployment of the machines, to you getting money actually in your bank, has become like, what's the cycle like, if you can share?
So, it will depend. If it's an emergency, everything is completed within 24 months, 18 to 24
let's
months.
talk about normal.
So, emergency procurement. The regular procurement may take from the time you start doing the R&D, 5 to 6 years, which is actually very, very long. So once the product is made, I think, so we have a case in which where the product is almost made, but again, had some cycles, but at least took us 4 years after that. So we think that can be compressed to 18 months. If they can compress that cycle to 18 months, India is out of the woods.
And what is required to compress it from 4 years?
The policy, if there is a self-funded private R&D company that has created some product, please create a policy around that. You don't try to force fit a policy onto them. If the product is ready, tell me how can you procure it in 1 month, 3 months, 6 months. Everything should be tailor-made. If that happens, self-funding will keep coming. You will invest in those companies. You will say, guys, these guys are making in 2 years, they're making a ton of money. You will invest. And and the IITs, instead of delivering in 10 minutes, they may actually deliver missiles against the Pakistanis and others. Yeah, so which is a great thing. Yeah.
So what role did you play in the recent insurgencies like Operation Sindhoor and the other which have taken place in the past?
So Operation Sindhoor, our products were used in detecting the incoming drones, and they were used in neutralizing them, not entering them. So that is where things.
And you were the only technology that were used in neutralizing drones.
So to my knowledge, yes. To my knowledge, since indigenous simulators, indigenous anti-drone systems worked very well. And second was, even the Agniveers who performed very well, they said this about some of the Agniveers, they were trained on our simulators. So these two things was actually, a lot of us felt that, this is the moment we have been actually living for, where our products are actually demonstrably being very helpful to the nation.
And where would you say India today would be globally amongst its defense technology capabilities?
So I think in army simulators, we are number one. I mean, there is now number 2, number 3. I think we're number 4 or number 5 spaces.
India is number 1 globally.
Absolutely. In army simulators, we are number 1. Absolutely. There's no doubt about that. Second is anti-drone systems. We may be in the top 2 or 3. I think we are little, and we need to integrate this kinetic kill, the hard kill, in a very big way. So we will. So, and we have a 3 to 4 year plan by which time we will be number 1 in the world in the anti-drone systems. And there are some, I think, we are good in missiles, BrahMos and all that, but as a collaboration, Akash missiles, they are doing well. So I think, I think overall in some of the categories, we are really there, and some we have to really focus now. Again, my whole submission is, don't play catch-up game that, in the ice hockey, they call the puck. So don't go to where the puck is, go to where the puck will be after some time. So you have to predict the game, China never made a petrol-based car, really good car, but they caught on. What they did was, they said they gave special permission to Elon Musk, and they said, please put it in 100% ownership, and then they reverse engineered the hell out of it, and they did BYD and all that. That is where the world was going. They copied it well, and they really improved on that. So BYD is, they're definitely. I by the way, like after the Israeli pager thing, I really worry about the BYDs and all that. They are all weapons.
So you think?
Yeah, of course. I mean to say, the software is being sent by China, and if the war happens, I'm going to convert every EV vehicle into a weapon. Go crash into this segment, go crash into that segment. What will you do?
But do you think India-China war is ever possible?
Yeah, of course, I think. So what do you mean by it's ever possible? What was the war that happened in Operation Sindhoor? It was India-China war. These what can Pakistanis do? They can do nothing. I mean, they're slaves to China, and they were doing whatever China wanted them to do. This war was not between India and Pakistan. It was between India, China, Turkey and Pakistan. So we were having a multi-front war. But next war they'll be part of the war actually. And we have to prepare for a multi-front war, and that is only possible when we do this kind of rigorous private enterprise R&D and create world-class product in the next 5 years.
And if you have to compare India's defense tech with China, which are the things which we are ahead and which are the things we are lacking?
I would say in anti-drone system, we are very good. And drones, I think there are a lot of players doing very well at this point in time.
So we can confidently trash down Chinese drones if they ever come.
Yeah, so we should be able to handle their drones. There's no doubt. With the way we handle it here, we should be able to. But again, and of course, army in simulation area, we are way ahead of them. But China is actually doing very well. So, again, when Trump said, I'm going to ban 3 lakh Chinese people from coming, what would any self-respecting nation say? Okay, ban, that's your loss. But these guys were begging, you are racist, because why? These guys are incapable of creating new technologies, Chinese. They have to keep stealing forever from China, from America. So all the students they send, they're very, very rich people, students. They're typically party members. Their children who go there and steal the technology and get back to China. They are not incapable of actually genuinely creating new thing. So that is where we are very strong at. You know yourself.
Yeah,
That
so
India is
we are building India as an AI powerhouse. That's our mission at NEOM.
absolutely, yeah. We are so AI and AI integration into this, quantum integration will take India somewhere else. Those capabilities are not there with Chinese. I mean, they publish papers, they do patents, but that innate ability to create, which Indians have, and the innate ability to really risk the entrepreneurship which is there in India is not there. And by the way, every Chinese is worried when he will go to jail, whether it was Jack Ma or anybody. He doesn't know what his relative has done. It's not what he has done. If the relative is seen speaking against, these guys are jailed there. And they can't take their money out of there. If a foreign company that are there, they're not being allowed to take money out. So India is in that space that we can really create world-class technologies, and we can. But again, I say the Pareto is, the government's treatment of privately created R&D products.
And let's say if we have to go ahead of China in the next 5 to 10 years, what do we have to do? Today, Chinese economy is at 18 trillion, Indian economy is at 4.5 trillion.
So again, I think government has to make India the most desired place for business. Who creates wealth in the country?
It is the entrepreneur who creates the wealth.
There is nobody else. It is the business owners who create wealth through goods and services. But if the basic wealth creation is not there, nobody is being served. These are the actual wealth creators. You may print as much money as you want. If there are no goods and services, there is going to be inflation. I mean, profit is the most noblest of word, where you are trading your capability with somebody else's. Both are benefiting and both are making profit out of that. So, till I start thinking, if a guy, again, if you are a guy who's making money out of regulatory capture by saying that framing the rules in your place, capturing minerals and all that, that was the fixed pie. Now, creation of knowledge is happening, creation of new technologies are happening. You are treating them with the same mentality of a crony capitalist.
Yeah.
A capitalist is different. A crony capitalist is as worse as a communist, actually, for me. He's just seeking power by, aligning himself with politicians. So I think we really need to get the act together where businessmen are treated as wealth creators and they are honored for that. And when we go to any government office, they say, why did you come here? So I have failed in my duty that you have to come here. Because your time should be spent on creating goods and services, innovating products. I think it's a very deep psyche change that has to happen, that businessmen are honored and everything that stops them should be removed from their way. And that happens if China is a small game. I mean, Chinese, they don't have any freedom. They are always under pressure. And, and if you create that, all the big business, today you are making things so that people don't run away from here. One of the failure of the thing, any economy, when you say East Germany and West Germany, which economy succeeded? The simple test is this: which people want to run to the other place? That is the success. East Germany had fences, so people they would shoot down. North Korea has fences, so they would shoot down. That is the thing. So if you are creating systems where you are not allowing people to go out, which is America also doing, that means you have failed as a creating system in the nation where people want to come in. Forget about going out. So yeah, I think it's veering off the topic, but yeah.
But this is essential because, right, if more defense tech entrepreneurs have to be built in, there have to be 100 more defense tech companies built in India.
Yeah,
what is required?
I mean, they should obsolete Zen in 1 year, 2 years. I think if the tough guys come, they'll say, boss, these are my simulators much better than you. These are my anti-drone system better than you. We should be competing here. That means to say, intuitively, if you are number one in India, you are number one in the world. That is how many vendors, and that ecosystem is there. The entrepreneurs are there, but the policies are not there.
So what did you understand about policy making and navigating the ecosystem that nobody was able to create equivalent to Zen?
First of all, we are like spoiled children in the sense that we have been given so much. IDDM is a policy which is nowhere there in the world. Parrikar was able to do it. Make-II is nowhere there in the world. He was able to introduce. So even after we still have a huge long list of wishes. And that is why, today, defense companies are able to invest a lot of money. Our situation, I was saying, in 2012-13, our market cap was about 40 crores. And now, it's gone to 17,000-18,000 crores, depending on the day and the mood of the stock market. So that's almost a 450x kind of growth. That 450x 45,000% growth has happened in the last 12 years. So we are able to raise money and all that. Having said that aside, we still think that there is a scope for government to improve in these areas where I was talking about. How do you encourage self? Today, if I am assured of an order, very frankly, how much do you want me to invest? 1,000 crores, 10,000 crores. There is the solar has a market cap of 1,50,000 crores. So they can invest 20,000 crores. They don't need anybody, but only show them that if you develop the product, here is the order. So that ecosystem is created. I think we'll eat China for breakfast.
But are you helping create that ecosystem in India?
So we are writing all these things, but I'm talking to you. I'm actually writing to them.
Okay.
So in the DAP, I said, please create a special category for self-funded private R&D. So I am writing. I hope they listen to me, but there are a lot of other forces also at work, and maybe somebody has a better suggestion than me.
Yeah. So there was a movie, if you remember, Rang De Basanti came back long ago, but it was shown that how, at that point in time, the government was procuring old military planes from Russia, right? And it was the corruption, and because of that, what was happening is fighter pilots were dying.
Yeah.
Right. So have you seen that? Was that a true incident at any time in India's history in the past?
I would not be surprised if that was in the sense that.
But has it changed today, like completely?
So I think now it has changed dramatically. Small thing happens, there is a big reaction at this point in time. I think that is completely. The thing is, now they're saying don't buy anything from foreign countries, and they're begging you to indigenize everything. That's a complete 180 degrees reversal. So the fact that these guys are pushing India to develop and trying to say, and one of the things very few people know is when you should act in the interest of the country. Very frankly, whether it's Zen or a foreign company. So when Parrikar came to thing, he saw that almost 70% of the trucks, Tatra trucks, were out of action.
What is those?
The Tatra trucks. There was one truck that was being used because they were blacklisted by the A.K. Antony, was the defense minister preceding this government, and so he said because there were some allegations of corruption by that company, blacklisted. Now all the components for spares were to come to, they were stopped coming, and 70% of the trucks were kind of out of action. I may be wrong with the percentage. Sure. Parrikar came and said, very frankly, I don't give a damn. He lifted the ban and started buying from them. He said, I'm going to penalize them, I'm financially going to do, but my country should not suffer. So if you have a politician of that caliber, and A.K. Antony was a guy who was very, very protective. He was a very honest guy. But he always used to think, mere dhabba nahi lagna chahiye. Parrikar was a thing that, country ko problem nahi aana chahiye. Dhabba lag gaya to lag gaya. So when he removed, so a lot of people asked, yaar, tune uske upar nikal diya. Main aise hi kar. But because he was such a great leader, everybody knew that he would never do it for money. He would only do it for the country. So I think we need leaders like Parrikar who really understand the depth of it and act only in the interest of the country and don't give a damn about anything else. And then, I think if Parrikar was there, he would have acted on this advice at this point. He would have definitely have, because, and again, he was not listening only to the bureaucrats. He was listening to businessmen like me, small business like me.
Did you get your time enough face time with Parrikar?
Yeah, I did. I was fortunate to get it. And so when he was going back to Goa, actually, I made a big hue and cry. He said that, he had made up his mind to go. Yeah, but I think I did get enough face time with him. And again, with him, anybody could get face time. By the way, if you wrote a letter and said this is the issue, you would get face time with him. So yeah, I did get enough face time with him.
Well, thank you so much, Ashok. It's been a wonderful conversation, a very unique conversation on the defense tech ecosystem of India. I'm very proud that companies like Zen are built in India.
Thank you. Thank you so much for coming and doing the show. Looking forward to more interactions.
Yes, absolutely.